Welcome to episode 49 of the official podcast for Guardian 1, a Destiny group dedicated to the prosperity of Guardians everywhere. We broadcast live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by River.
I don't think I'll be able to catch up on the Bungie weekly update before the podcast begins.
Crimson Warlock.
What's up, everybody?
Jez.
Good morning.
And Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you choose to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter at G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. You can also send us feedback to our email, feedback@guardian1.net. We also have a Bungie.net's forums group that's currently at 184 members, so if you want to join that, just search for the group name Guardian 1. Guardian 1 has its own clan, so if you want to join the Guardian 1 clan, just select the buttons that say set as PlayStation clan or set as Xbox clan after you join the group. Utilize the forums for comments and feedback. Be sure to join the conversations going on there. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, and if you can't catch the show live, you can always go to the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1 Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts that's part of the network, including the flagship podcast Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at Guardians of D and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/Guardians of D. Other podcasts include Aim Assist Gaming, TTL Party Chat, Robust Radio, and if you want to read the Grimoire without actually reading the Grimoire, you can check out Ghosts and Echoes, which also contains some great fan fiction by the folks at Guardian Radio. That's it. Move along.
Excellent. Moving on. All right. So, let's just get right to it. Agrios, where are we?
We are unmuting.
Yeah, nice.
My favorite.
Yeah, happens all the freaking time, man.
At least I caught myself right away that time.
True, we didn't have any time to get some jokes in on you, like, oh, lost Agrios.
Right. Well, this week they jump right into a preview of the Arsenal that's going to be coming in the Taken King. In fact, the Taken King will feature the largest armory any Guardian has ever seen, and that includes the original launch of the game last year. That's what's the word? Hopeful isn't the word I'm looking for, but close enough.
Enormous?
Promising is what I'm looking
for.
I like it.
Does that excite you guys? I mean, are you excited, or do you fear that because of vault space?
Okay. This is a great point. You really bring up a great point. I was going to go into the whole aspect where we shouldn't get our hopes up just because we shouldn't get our hopes up. But you really bring a whole new bummer to the whole thing. You're right.
Oh, sorry.
Vault space didn't even...
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I cry about on Twitter a lot, too, is the lack of vault space. And I wasn't even going to go there. I was just going to go and say we don't know what they're telling us yet. Like, I will tell you right now, spoiler, I read this this update, this Bungie weekly update, and my little brain was just fried with what could they mean by this? Like, this could be so awesome. And then I just kept having to reel myself back in and saying, I will just wait and see what it is they're trying to tell us with this, because there's a lot of ambiguous wording in here, and Bungie is known for their ambiguous wording, but they've also become known as, how about you just take it for what we're saying? This is a gun that you don't ride, and well, maybe it's a gun that I ride, so I'm excited about this. Much of this concept art looks amazing, and these details are beautiful. I want to say beautiful, but yeah, I don't know. I'm holding off until a time which they actually spell out what all this means. River.
I'm not excited at all. And I'm completely joking, because I really want to get my hands. I want to find out what it is that they're going to be, sending our way, and what's going to be the next thorn, basically.
Yeah, what's going to be the next thorn?
But since I hadn't even read the update yet, I have an inkling about what you're talking about right now. But I'll figure it out as Agrios continues on.
All right, let's finish out the initial impressions, and then we'll go through this. Crimson Warlock, did you read the update, and what do you think about all this?
So I read the update, and my personal feeling is I was just as giddy reading this as I think I was reading updates a year ago when they were doing the the exotic weapon previews, the exotic previews of all these different items that would run into. Mostly because, this was an update of, preview of what we'll see, but this was, world building. This was a lore update in a lot of ways, and it was just awesome to see Destiny get that much deeper in its lore, and I'm hoping that we'll get a feel for that even more when the Taken King comes out.
That's a really good observation. It definitely was a lore update in a manner of speaking. Jez.
Well, I know I'm not going to have to worry about vault space, because I'll just be sharding everything that isn't made by Omelon.
I like it. I like
So
it a lot.
I'll stick with Hard Light and its kin.
Agrios.
Well, I'm a collector, so I'm excited, but that whole vault space thing, I need the answer to that. I need to know their answer. Is their answer, your guns you have now are obsolete in everything, including Crucible, so get rid of them, or here's another full page? I'm hoping for another full page vault, that changes the UI, they're moving around the quests, they're giving you all those extra quest slots and blah, blah, blah. I'm hoping that what they're doing with the vault is inventory control. I'm hoping that what they know is that by the time the Destiny 1 is done with, we had to have saved this much active memory for the last gen consoles. So we can't go full Hilder off the bat. And we're only going to give them this many spaces to begin with. Then we're going to add these spaces here. And this is going to force them to not have 4 pages of stuff already by the time Dark Below drops. And that they're going to keep tacking onto this as they go and keep adding more in. But I just want the answer. I want to know. I want to know what their is.
Okay, so you said previously, we were going to talk about this at some point, and I don't remember exactly how you worded it. So as soon as you know what I'm talking about, just tell me what the question was. But it was something along the lines of, is it really me having been spending all this time getting something that's really cool to keep around, or kind
of like the hypocrisy of what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because when asked about, for instance, I know back closer to E3, they were asked, Deej in particular, I think during one interview was asked, the House of Wolves weapons seem underpowered compared to vanilla Destiny weapons. And the response to that is that, well, that's one of the privileges of being around. They want to give us veteran, year one sparrows and shaders and emblems and things like that. Well, we already don't have room for these things. And they're telling us, well, in the next breath, when we complain about vault space, they're telling us, well, you got to pick and choose, and there's new things coming, and do you really want to use the same thing for 10 years? So it's almost it's not completely hypocritical, but it's like in one breath they're saying, well, that you were lucky enough to be around to have gotten those things, so it's a privilege that you get to have them. But in the next breath they're saying, delete them, make room for the new stuff that you're going to have to delete.
Right. So yeah, I feel like this is really the big question. You know, like did we go through all of this and gain some really cool weapons along the way, or was this just the step that this is what you needed to get to here? Now 31 is if you're 31 you're a joke. Like is it really some kind of awesome thing that we did, and now these other people aren't going to get that stuff, or are we just being moved on? And I mean, I can think of a couple things that I could still delete that I don't want to delete, to make room for some of this stuff because it looks really awesome. But I mean, if it's going to be worth something and I spent my time getting it, why wouldn't I want to keep a hold on it? And at the same time, how much is too much? When Bungie was addressed the question of why can't we just have 10,000 people in our clan, because I have 10,000 people who want to be in this clan, they said, well, we can, sure, we can update how many are in your clan, but I mean, where is it really? Okay, so it's not 100 in your clan, it's 150. Like, is that really? That's not really the answer to this. So I know that they're not really thinking that, like you're saying, 4 pages of just gauntlets. Like, that's not what they want you to do too. They want you to make these decisions, but I need room for some sort of collection. I need room for some sort of collection. I mean, I've already deleted so much that I didn't want to, but where does it stop? And where is that answer? Because as soon as they say this is the vault space, you deal with it. I'm just going to have to deal with it.
Something I alluded to and wanted to add real quick to what I said before was I think them letting us know the plan is important too. I think maybe if they weren't going to let us to continue ascending things, they shouldn't have teased us with it. Maybe if they should have thought that out for the long term, because people like to kind of plan for the future as far as, when you're trying to obtain something so important, how hard are you going to work for that? How much time are you going to put into that? And to just leave them in the dark without knowing, that doesn't make for an entirely fun experience.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, so why don't we go through this update so River can be caught up, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. They start off by setting some historical context with some comments from Commander Zavala, and he talks about how the weapons used by the Guardians are salvaged from the Golden Age and combined with new discoveries and rediscoveries to make up the city's arsenal, and that they really, carefully pick which foundries were able to continue existing based upon their limited resources. And they say that here is a small sampling of functional archetypes from 3 of the foundries that keep our city well armed and extremely dangerous. Now, some of the wording in this sentence I find interesting. I might be reading too much into it, but it says from 3 of the foundries. Now, they've never confirmed whether these are the only 3. Do you think they're keeping foundries that are going to be released into Taken King hidden? Do you think these are the only 3, or do you think there's more than 3 and they're keeping tight secret wraps on that?
I would say that this is definitely, an example of the wording where it's, I think it's safe to say that there's definitely more than 3 foundries. This just might be the main 3 that they're going with.
Do you think we'll see them all introduced in the Taken King?
Well, going by the wording here, it says a small sampling of functional archetypes from 3 of the foundries that keep our city well armed, not the 3 foundries.
Exactly. That was my thought too. I didn't know if I was reading too much into the wording, or if if there were going to be more than 3 in the Taken King launch.
I mean, we already know that there's more in the game that just are only on the exotic here and there ones.
Oh yeah, you're totally right. Also, this could just be like, I don't know. I'm willing to say that this will be the 3 that are highlighted in the Taken King. Although I could definitely see some of those Crux Lomar kicking some Taken ass as well. So Yeah, I mean it's really neither here nor there. It's either just going to be these three, and that's going to be awesome, or there's going to be more than three, and that's going to be even more awesome. I think it's safe to want more. And I don't know. They gave us a huge amount of images to go on, and also some lore with these. So
It
Well,
may
and
just be.
this is just your like the beginning of the year too. I mean, we might see more in the future as the year goes on. We might start out with three, and when the next expansion after the Taken King comes out, they might add one or two more. It could just be a process over a year.
agreed. Moving on.
Moving on. So they tell us a little bit about each of the foundries here, and then the plans behind their weapons. The first one we go into is Hake. Is that how you say that? Hake?
I believe that Deej cleared this up over the Twitter, and by cleared it up, I mean he says that it's pronounced Haka, or I believe that's how his pronunciation was in the text, but that doesn't look like Haka to me.
Well, it'd be more like Haka.
Right? I always thought it was Hackett.
Okay,
River, what do you think?
I have no idea. Haka. There we go.
I'm going to go with the Klingon pronunciation and go,
Right? There it
Fine.
is. That's how you pronounce that.
Or
All of
Haka.
them sound like Hakalugi, so
There you go, Haka.
and their slogan is functional, reliable, unapologetic. Kind of sounds like a cologne, maybe. I don't know.
It kind of looks like
It's terrible.
They bring in lead artist Raj Natam to give us the design pillars of this one. Hammers, not scalpels. Relatable design harkening back to a lost era. It's not about exciting form, it's about exciting function.
Nice.
A weapon. It's an instrument of the people. They bring in the sandbox designer John Wisniewski to give us the in-depth feel of how these weapons are going to operate for us. Building reliable tools built for soldiers in the battlefield. Hake is about simplicity over intricacy, function over flair. They have weapons. Weapons all start with more tightly focused band of base stats that don't spike as high or as low as other weapon families, granting a solid foundation for growing the weapon. On their talent grid, you'll see a simplified set of scopes that work best for the weapon. Front-loaded perk nodes and stat upgrade options occupy the final column. Their perk selection is focused on offensive actions and combat tactics. Their pulse rifles fire a burst of 4 rounds with damage adjusted to match the DPS of a 3-round burst, meaning the pulse rounds do less individually, but are equal as a group. Fire time between bursts is slightly faster. So,
okay, let me stop you right there.
Yeah,
so first off, I want to say that these design pillars are awesome. They make me super excited for the game. They bring me into the fold of the lore and the game without actually providing anything substantive. Like when I see hammers, not scalpels, I get what they're saying. This is a weapon that's not doing, it's not a slicing weapon, it's a bludgeoning weapon. You are winning by pure force. Like relatable design harkening back to a lost era. This means that their weapons are going to look, somewhat like what we've seen before. This isn't a futuristic thing. I love these design pillars. The tactical analysis, I feel like it's telling me something, and until I see what these grids look like, the talent grids look like, I feel like it's like, oh, well, yeah, you want to buy a car? Well, this car's got 4 doors. That's exactly what you're looking for, right? Well, I mean, we're not, or what are you talking about? Color? Or are we talking about, I feel like Like the design pillars are exciting, and this tactical analysis is just a tease. It's just a tease. River, what do you think about this so far? Hake.
So far, I'm kind of liking how everything's being presented. However, I don't think it's really going to mean anything if the only thing we're ever going to see as far as story-wise on these weapon foundries and crap is here in the Bungie weekly update. And I'm afraid that's what we're going to see more of. Like that we're not going to see more of that in the Taken King as far as lore.
I'm hoping
Because this is all well
learn.
and good.
I'm
hoping.
hoping.
I'm hoping.
I mean, some of the things they said, they kind of alluded to, like, we heard you and we want to have more thematic storytelling. So I'm hoping this is part of it. I'm hoping this is like one of their angles on that, actually.
What's it? The flavor text. Flavor text isn't enough.
No, I agree with that.
Well, see, my thought on what we're going to see in game with these things is, remember in the Vidoc when it said jobs available while they're in the Dreadnought, and I think that's kind of what you're going to do, is you're going to do jobs for these foundries.
Exactly.
Getting rep to buy weapons, or that's just our new types of patrols. I think that's kind of how they're going to tie it into the story.
Or we need this new energy source so we can harness it for this new weapon, and then you get a copy of that new weapon after you've managed to hunt down that energy source for that foundry.
X-Milk.
That sounds cool. That sounds really cool. You just get $50 to do that, River? You just being funny?
No, I didn't.
But I mean, if the first time I get an Amalon rifle, I get a Grimoire card for it, and that's all the involvement Amalon has in the game, I agree. I'm going to be sorely disappointed.
I feel like that's not at all what's going to happen. I think that Bungie has heard what we're saying, and I think that people have thrown out more than enough ideas, just into the internet to like some of them had to resonate with them, and I feel like I don't know. I can understand your wariness, River, and I am wary about it as well. Like one of the things that they wanted to have happen was us tell the story. Like, how do we convey to other people what it is that we're thinking about these things? And I feel like we've seen a big growth with people's YouTube channels and how people choose to share information. I feel like that it's working. I feel like to some degree, like whenever Bife puts out a lore video, it's him having gathered this information. He is the one telling the story, and the people who are listening. But at the same time, I definitely agree with you, as in I want it. I hate to say served up to me, but I need it in the game. I need to see it in the game. Like I want an actual answer. Like when Bife puts out a lore video, I love it, but is this totally accurate? Like I don't necessarily doubt anything that he puts in his videos because of his accent, but but if it's not straight coming from the game, like when the stranger said, I don't have time to explain why I don't have time to explain. If somebody had told me that, if I hadn't gotten to that part yet, and Bive told me that, I'd be like, whatever. What did she really say? Like
you're kidding me.
Yeah, this can't be this can't be true. So it's, I don't know. I'm really liking this, and I don't know. I way agree with you, River. What about you, Jez?
Well, they don't really speak to me in any kind of way, because they just look like super ribbed and weird. I mean, the only thing I liked about the Haka was the hunter cape in one of those shots. Really.
Let's see. Was it
Yeah,
the
green one?
That's not a good picture. I don't see it. But I see what you're talking about.
But
None
yeah,
of these speak to you.
I like sleek. I like something that looks better. Yeah, that's the one, by the way.
Awesome. Well, Warlock, what do you think? I think he's muted. and he's giving us time to make jokes about it.
I am muted. Darn it.
Bug.
The dreaded mute button.
The mute button. I being a mechanical engineer in the background that I have in that, honestly, like the more metallic and like sharp edges, like clean cut edges there are on something, the more attracted I am to it. And so like I kind of liked these, but there were some of the other factions that I enjoyed more. So yeah, that's just kind of how I am. It's, I don't know, the more machine something looks, the more attracted I am to it.
Man, I couldn't agree with that more. Agrios.
I'm not as interested in this one compared to some of the other ones. I just find it interesting that we have more story behind them. I mean, they were mentioned offhandedly in the random array of weapons we found, but I like the details. So I just like that we're going into this all together. Armelon would probably be the one that harkens to me the most out of all three of them. So that's the one we're about to talk about next.
Let's talk about it.
Armelon, the future is what we make it. Again, they bring in lead artist Raj Natam to give us the design pillars of Armelon. Experimental, bordering on irresponsible. Powered by barely understood technology. A fusion of the mad scientist and product engineer of the new frontier. Hallmark is the liquid ammo displays and Armelon power cells. Armelon is the future returned. Again, they bring in sandbox designer John Wisniewski to break these weapons down for us. They're pioneers of energy weaponry. Armelon is the first foundry to experiment beyond the world of combustion ballistics. Sporting lighter ergonomic frames, Armelon weapons all start with a generous base handling stat to build from. Armelon talent grids focus on behavioral perks over stat customization. Legendary talent grids are the only weapons that offer 3 perks. 1 is the first non-scope upgrade, and 2 is the binary choice in the final column. Perk selection favors perks that are energy-based and or go beyond the weapon to interact with the wielder's abilities or status. So I really like how these guns seem interactive beyond just being guns, for instance. And I noticed from the design that, they reminded me of that hard light kind of look, which is very different from a way a lot of the guns in the game have looked so far. So that interests me as well. I like creativity.
They look like paintball guns to me. But why don't you read those last 2 sentences again? Because I think that this is another one of those times where they're either telling us something really exciting or this should have been added to the lore side.
Well, the first of the last 2 sentences, the beginning of it's written a little oddly. I'm not 100% sure exactly what they're saying, but legendary talent grids are the only weapons that offer 3 perks. So that part of that sentence is a little wonky. I'm not 100% sure what they're trying to say right there.
Legendary weapons.
What's that?
Legendary weapons.
Legendary weapons are the only weapons that offer 3 perks.
That's what it sounds like to me.
I'll go along with it. Continue.
Yeah, sure. That works. 1 as the first non-scope upgrade, and 2 as the binary choice in the final column.
And then perk selection favors perks that are energy-based and or go beyond the weapon to interact with the wielder's abilities or status. That's the part that excites me. This sounds really cool. River, why don't you break this down for us?
Well, from what I'm gathering on this, and I've only spent 20 seconds on this so far?
Yep.
It sounds like that it's gonna give you perks similar to, like, I can't remember the name of it, but like whenever you get a kill and it increases your sprint speed, stuff that's gonna alter how you as a player are going to, how your abilities are gonna change whenever you're using these weapons based on what perks you have. So something like that, or maybe, I don't know, faster more the grenade, faster grenade recharging, it's stuff similar to that. Beyond that, I hadn't even thought about it that much right now.
Okay, so I would like to go right now to Jez, who is just waiting patiently or is asleep. Definitely
Not
one
muted.
of the two. Yeah, definitely not muted. So why don't you break this down to me? Like for several hours now, I've seen you just, I don't know. It's as if I don't even know what this is akin to. It's incredibly strange to see you cheerlead for something. You know, you're generally pretty standoffish, and you don't necessarily throw your entire being behind something. But for the last couple of hours on Twitter, you've been ready. You're amaloned out. And so why don't you tell us what you see in this, because I want to be as excited as you are about this.
Well, see, this is where you're going to see, obviously, skip rounds, because Hard Light is our first real Omelon gun. But we're going to have more things like you do more damage if your health is low, or you're going to have stuff like Battle Runner, where a kill increases your sprint speed. Like, your gun is going to affect you, not you're using the gun to affect the world.
Interesting. And you're excited about this?
Well, yeah, because it's more about the fusion of the gun's abilities with your abilities. Like, I'd much rather, like, I don't want glass half full where I have to, like, oh, let's use final round and use the final round to kill the last guy. No, I want something that if I kill someone, I'm running like a speed demon. I want something fun.
Yeah, I was always bummed with some like I don't think it was called Final Round on. It's called Who's Next on the on like the machine guns, where you have to go through 60 bullets and the last one does something, like the last one in the round does something. That's a bummer.
I think Who's Next is the one where if you get a kill, it reloads fast, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's on the last perk only, isn't it? All I know is whatever one that is a bummer to have on a weapon because it's pretty worthless. Because I usually reload before the last round. I don't usually use the whole clip of any of my weapons. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a pie chart on how many times I reload because I've run out of bullets and how many times I reload because I'm active about my ability to put bullets out.
So in my head, I'm looking at these guns and the manufacturers like different colors in like in Magic the Gathering, you have different colors and you mix them together and you get an entirely different flavor. Like mixing black and red, you get the bloodthirsty cultists, and mix white and black, you get the law type of thing. I'm looking at these guns and seeing what perks kind of match which gun. Like which perk is a blend of the two design philosophies, really. So I'm wondering what gun manufacturer gets more of the get a kill and you reload fast, because to me that seems very gun focused. So, yes. Which might be hockey.
That's what I was thinking.
I just called it hockey. Or it might be Omelon because it's affecting how fast you reload it.
Okay, to go along with your analogy, I'd say you're right on track, but I would bet you that there is multicolor ones then too.
Yeah,
like there's ones that you're going to find strictly on Omelon, and then there's ones that you're going to find on Omelon and Soros because they kind of share that one, and then there's ones you're going to find exclusively on Soros.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking at these guns, and I'm looking at what philosophy that they already had in mind that I was waiting for, like the play style that I use. And this is what Omelon is. And it also helps that the very first emblem I used for the entire first 2 months was the Omelon emblem, because it was gold, and I like gold.
So, in general, we didn't get to Soros yet, but in general, it seems to me that the first one, Hake, or whatever we're calling it, would be most of the perks that would give you bonus damage.
Mm-hmm.
Omelon would be most of the perks that somehow affect your Guardian's abilities to jump, grenade, or super in some way, shape, or form. And then Soros would be all the abilities like, say, rangefinder or something that would change how your gun actually physically functions in combat.
Yeah, it seems like Suros is very, very much looking to be quite versatile and effective in both forms.
Let's
Right, something in rangefinder, things that speed up reload. So Hawkeye would be damage boosters, the Amalon would be guardian boosters, and Soros would be gun boosters.
Why don't we go to Soros right now and see what they have to tell us?
Sure. Soros, elegance in the face of brutality. Again, they bring in lead artist Raj Natam to give us the design pillars. This is my sword. Function is a given. It must be given form. Design is honed. Precision. Every curve, every line, every chamfer speak to the Soros philosophy. Soros is elegance amidst brutality. They again bring in sandbox designer John Wisniewski to break this down for us. Some say the best weapon for a Guardian is the one they can customize to match their intent. Soros believes in options, weapons that can be repurposed for a variety of combat situations. Soros talent grids offer 2 columns of 2 stat perks, granting more options for changing weapon stats than any other foundry. The single behavior perk is grounded in the middle of the talent grid as a focus point for the weapon's core potential. If you want a weapon that can flex from CQ to range, quick to powerful, fast handling to hard hitting, all with the swap of a few nodes, Soros. And they go on to say that this doesn't cover the entire product line that Hake, Amalon, and Soros have to offer, and there will be more choices than ever to arm yourself in the tower. Factions will have their own guns. Classes will have their own guns, and we did see in the recent photo release, like in particular, a Warlock gun caught my eye. It was actually called Warlock Gun, was the title of the picture. And more quests will lead you directly to specific guns. Even the gunsmith will have a new way to include you in his enterprise.
All right, so did they just tell us that Soros actually physically has one more talent tree or one more talent option than the rest of them, or is this them just saying this?
Well,
no, what it's saying is it's having another switchable node, or like an extra switchable node more than the rest of them have. So you have an option in a node, like you know how like Fangiver you can switch between the reloading one and the target marking one.
Yeah.
Well, if I understand it correctly, Soros has more nodes like that than any other foundry.
Got it. Is that what you're going to say, Jez?
Well, I was gonna say Bife had a video out today about the weapon foundries, which was very informative. And one of the things that he showed was like the images from the E3 build, and the Soros gun had like 2 binary options. Like, it had 2 options. Like you could have.
Does one of you guys have the link for it? I'll put it up on the screen.
You know the second string of options in your gun that's not your sights. It has like 3 options.
Mm-hmm.
It had 2 of those and 1 like static perk plus your sights.
Interesting.
I'll find the image and I'll link it to you.
So basically, the first node that's normally a static node that's between your sights and that row of 3 on your gun right now is also a row of multiple choices, 2 or 3 or whatever, to pick from, as opposed to the other guns don't have that. And if I understood correctly, one of the guns only has the 1 switchable node. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's not 100% clear for the other guns, I guess. I'd have to go through
this
the
is kind of hard to see, but in it, underneath of the highlighted image, it has the 2 binary perks and full auto is in the middle.
Weird, it's not showing. Send it again.
It's not loading up for you?
No, it's not loading up for me. Weird. Suros is my
here's-
jam. Suros is my jam. All of this looks... There it is. All of this looks so exciting. And for them to talk about it in a way that's... They're trying to explain that this is a weapons foundry who goes out of their way to be so... I don't know, so forgiving in what it is that you want to do. Like, you could play, it sounds like, 2 different play styles. You could have 2 different play styles and just be able to use the one gun for it. You know, do I feel like running and gunning? Do I feel like stepping back? This is exciting. River, do you have love for Suros?
I like Suros.
Yeah.
But, I mean, all I have is what Suros regime. And just judging by what we got here, I don't even know what to really think about what we got going on here. If I had to pick one of these foundries that I'm looking most forward to using, is probably one.
Yeah. And why is that specifically?
Because my play style in any game is more... It's more like using magic to enhance my own physical abilities. Is that me or somebody else?
That is Agros.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. So, like, whenever I play, like, Mass Effect or maybe even, like, The Witcher, that's the kind of play style I like. So, I feel like I would probably gravitate more to that boundary.
So you like being the bard? Is that?
Oh. Are you using D&D, man?
Yeah.
You trying to use D&D on me?
You like being the bard. You like to buff yourself and everybody else.
Well, yeah, but doesn't the fighter do that too? I didn't
don't
say
think
everybody
so.
else. I said myself.
Oh, okay.
All right, so this is the image. So because this looks like an even smaller amount of choices than we have already, and that's incorrect, right? Like,
Well, it's actually more amount of choices, but you're doing so at a loss of one of those static perks.
interesting. I guess I'm just going to have to see it in action. I guess you know what it is? I'm so used to seeing all these other damage bubbles that I don't know.
Yeah. No more attack bubbles.
No more attack bubbles. Which I guess is cool. Anybody else sad about the lack of attack bubbles, or?
I'm sad that my gun still tells me that it's time to upgrade, and I go to look and there's nothing to upgrade because the attack bubble is still secretly there. I just don't have to pay for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that
annoying
really
to see.
happening?
Yeah, it's happened to me.
Yeah.
I put up
Yeah.
a video and sent it to Bungie being like, why is this happening? But,
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
at some point one of them commented on it at some point that the nodes are still there. They're just free now, and that's why you'll get your weapon upgraded. You'll get the warning after you turn in bounties that this weapon upgrade, and you'll go to look and there's nothing to actually upgrade on it.
Yeah.
it happens with the
pretty much.
exotic armors as well.
It happens with everything.
Apparently, they're not secretly there, but removing them cost a buck.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I think that all this is super cool, and I don't know. I'm excited. Even if this is the only 3 that they're bringing in the Taken King, I think that the idea of giving us this background, the idea of giving us more options within each of these foundries, is really cool. And I don't know. I hope I don't have to delete a bunch of stuff to take it, man. But I will. I will do it. Let's see. What do we got?
Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on. Destiny Year 1 Art Contest. The contest begins now. Your submissions are welcome in a brand new place to celebrate and share awesome community art. Check it out. They give a link to a new community art area. The question for this contest is, what has been your favorite thing about the first year of Destiny? They give a list of specifics. If you're interested in entering, I encourage you to check those out. They go on to say that you can give light to participate in contest judging, and Bungie will award prizes to their favorite creations that rise to the top. The winners will be revealed in the next Bungie Weekly update. 7 creators will win a collector's edition of Destiny the Taken King, and 50 of them will win the coveted Blacksmith Shader, which sells for ridiculous amounts on eBay right now. I cannot believe how much people are paying for those shaders on eBay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Unreal.
How much are they going for?
Over $100. I've seen one. The most expensive I saw one go for was $176.
And this is for which shader?
The Blacksmith Shader that you got for pre-ordering Advanced Warfare, or that they were handing out at E3.
God. That's ridiculous.
It is
So
ridiculous.
little did they know, they handed one of the community guys like $100,000 worth of shaders.
This is really cool. This is really cool, and I hope that this is a sign of things to come, because when you go to this community creation site, it's got all of you can sort it, and you can just look at what the latest ones dropped off were, and I think that they really kicked a beehive in that there is a ton of submissions here, and they look so great. Like, I don't know, this is amazing. It's have you seen this yet, River?
No, not at all, actually. Unfortunately.
It's awesome, and it doesn't have to be just art. One guy put himself playing along with drums along with the Sepix Prime theme song, which is one of my favorites. Like that song is awesome. Really, all of the music in Destiny is amazing, and it's motivational. And, you know, even the tower, like, sometimes I'll just be kicking it in the tower, and I'm like, man, this is really great music. What do you think about this, Warlock? Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't had time. Still getting settled in my house that I moved into, and just haven't had time yet.
Jez?
It's kind of amazing how huge it already is.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I mean, even with the year lead, I didn't think it was going to be adopted this quickly.
Yeah, it's really gone crazy. You know what? It's funny because there's a lot of these I've seen before, but I'm glad that they decided to submit them. There's a guy in here that's got a picture of that the Warlock's helmet from Crota with 2 thorns crossed underneath it. I think it might be Dino, the guitar player for Fear Factory, but I'm not certain. It doesn't show his whole face. But yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. Agrios, have you checked it out yet?
Not yet. I mean, I follow Hedge on Twitter very closely, so I see a lot of the community art through him, but I haven't had a chance to actually stop over to the actual destination to check that out yet. But I will. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it just keeps going on and on with people's submissions, you know, and some of them are actual 3D art. One guy was making the relic shield. Somebody it looks like they crafted a shank. I don't know. It's really cool. Are any of you guys going to be submitting to the art contest?
You know what? I can't compete with these people.
I was going to say, I don't have any talent for that.
Stick figures.
Like, I'm artistic, and like it takes me a lot of time to do something though that looks good, and even then, I still can't compete with these people.
I'll quickly draft up a machinima and have it done in a week. But I think the cutoff point was like yesterday, wasn't it? For the contest proper.
No, I thought
so.
you can
2 weeks head start.
I think that
it was 2 weeks head start, and and then today's the official start of the contest. You can submit, but I mean, the longer you wait, the less time there is for people to vote on your piece. That's why they gave you the head start. So, like, today is the day really you want to have it kind of posted by, but they're not cutting you off. It doesn't sound like.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
they wouldn't have been giving you all the specifications on what your
Yeah, how
format
to
your stuff
enter
has
now.
to be. Yeah.
How to enter now for yesterday.
Good luck, Guardian. But yeah, it's definitely
Harness of
awesome.
X.
They give you an opportunity to put light onto these things. So the ones that you like, just click. Scroll down, give them some love. Really, a lot of amazing work. Whoa! Somebody made Crota's sword, and it looks amazing.
like physically, like it's a real life Crotosaur.
Yeah, it looks
I think
amazing.
I seen a picture on Twitter a little while ago of that.
Somebody posted the I don't know. I look like I'm getting into some duplicates now, but it's amazing. It's amazing, and you guys should definitely go check it out. But other than that, moving on.
Moving on. Okay, so next we're on to the Trials of Osiris. This is where they tease us about which map they may or may not be presenting this week, but this week it's all of them. They bring in senior designer Derek Carroll to let us know what their thoughts on this situation. They thought it might be interesting to change up the rotation and explain that they are setting the Trials of Osiris playlist to random, just like the Elimination playlist. And it'll be the 6 Trials map that you're used to from the past cycle of Trials of Osiris. And they bring in the heat maps that we've seen in past weeks and plotted the danger zones on each map. The red zones are for fighting and getting your cards punched. So now you take that for what it will. Like, I thought about it for a moment. I mean, my initial thought was, well, it means fighting and dying. But I mean, you have the Trials of Osiris passage cards. You get them punched for winning or losing. So I guess that's where the battle is. So
Right. I wonder how many people actually use these to their advantage, and I wonder what percentage of those people, it works out for them. Because I'll tell you what, Burning Shrine, this is exactly how it plays out. It's this corridor here, comes around here, and then there's a couple down here, there's a couple down here.
yeah, I try to note where they're at least and avoid standing there staring at the wall like an idiot in those red zones. At very least, I go for that far.
But yeah, this is really invaluable. These heat maps themselves could create an additional meta in that this is where people go to kill the people who are waiting to kill people. Does that make sense? Because if I know that this is where all those people are going to be standing.
Well, no, here's the thing. I'm not entirely certain, because, I mean, they say the red zones are for fighting and getting your cards punched. So does that mean that's where people are taking hits and killing from?
River?
Is it a combined?
Honestly,
red?
I was going to say that I'm not really sure how accurate these are, because I remember that one Bungie update for, I think it was Pantheon, where they gave a heat map for how, like, whenever Guardians went airborne. Yeah. And I'm not sure if that's on there or not.
Well, I don't think any of that's on here, because, I mean, they specifically say the red zones are... How does it say phrase again here? The red zones are... for fighting and getting your cards punched.
Okay.
So I mean,
please
they're
do
a little
not camp
ambiguous.
in the red zones.
Unless you want to be, unless of course you're Mercurial. So I guess that means unless of course you're one of the people who goes to Mercury, then you want to be where the red zones are.
Well,
mercurial means like volatile or like flighty or like if you're crazy, basically.
They capitalized the M, so I thought it was a pun on going to Mercury.
Oh, I think it's definitely both.
Okay.
But I think getting their cards punched could mean that it's possibly both where you die and where you get kills from.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Because your card gets punched, whether you win or lose. It's just a different thing gets punched.
I thought of something interesting, how the heat maps in the past, some of them told different things. Like some of them where I think, like the Pantheon one described where people went airborne and things like that. But if I recall correctly, like for instance, the original one that they brought to us with the original Mercury heat map was indeed like this one. It was where people were dying or doing the killing, like along this line. And I was interested. I went back and pulled that up and was interested to see how different they actually were as to who is now participating in trials and what people have learned from trials, as opposed to that very first week.
Man, that would be crazy to see. Is to see like an ongoing version of these, like what this looked like first week, second week, third week, and
like a dip of time. Like this is how it evolved through the weeks. Like how the people like have it fade. Oh, that would be awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Gee, do that. You hear us? Do that.
It would really show the influx of new Guardians who don't know where to stand, and the Guardians who've come to these lanes that you stay out of unless you're rushing through, or unless you know that unless you have to, unless you're rushing through, or unless you know where the other guys are.
Remember, it's only the really dark blue parts that people don't die that often in, so all the slightly light blue still means people die there.
Right.
Right, and that's where I'm going to go.
So you're never safe.
Were active, and the reds where they were doing the fighting and dying, I guess.
Yeah, it's just that initial rush until one person's left running around like Charlie Chaplin.
Now, if they had the data, something that would be interesting too is like each of the weeks that these maps were out first, to see an evolution from when they launched Friday morning to when they finished on Tuesday, like evolving heat map that ticked like by the hours through the weekend, and you could see just how people started and what they finished doing at the end. That would be really interesting too.
Absolutely. All right, so River, how often do you try out in trials?
Lately?
Yeah,
not that often anymore.
It's only been running for a couple of weeks, right? Like, what is your...
How's this? I did the Burning Shrine. Played the crap out of the Burning Shrine until I got 9 and 2. And then I did Widow's Court this past time, whenever that was. And that's it.
Yeah. Have you
it's
just lost...
time, man.
Okay, so what you're talking about, your lack of interest or your lack of doing this revolves around a lack of time, yeah?
Yes, definitely not lack of interest. I would still play the crap out of it if I had time to get online over the weekend like that.
Yeah. So is there any prospects on the future for you? Because I really feel like this is where you go to get the best gear. Like right now you're able to get a variety of primary weapons with elements on them. Like if you, like for the longest time, if you wanted a hand cannon with solar, you're just screwed. Now you could totally roll that. That could totally be what you walk away with.
Love my Void Scholar Scout Rifle.
The only problem I see with it though is also the chance that you're gonna get 7 in a row hand cannons with arc, and you're like, I already have Fatebringer.
People that have done it twice and got 2 arc hand cannons. It's funny you say that. That's their exact feelings on the situation.
I don't know if funny really sums it up correctly, but it's somewhere in there.
It's not funny, haha. It's the other funny.
Right, it's the other funny, like if I don't laugh, I'll cry.
Like, this bread smells funny.
Crimson Warlock, I know that you just made a move. What does your internet look like? And is Trials something that you've done each week since, or are you interested in it all, or what?
I can play Destiny on my my PlayStation with my internet connection right now. I don't know if I'd trust myself in PvP with it just yet.
Well, if
but
it should be like awesome in PvP now.
That's true. I just might roll people, right?
Yeah. That video, I had that shotgunner take my whole team down after I shot him in the back 7 times, like emptied my whole clip, reloaded, and shot him 2 more times.
I actually have yet to step foot in Trials, mostly because since the House of Wolves has come out, I've been doing fireworks shows or other stuff every weekend, and when I finally do get to sit down and play, everyone's already in trials with their fire teams or something, and I don't have a fire team that's waiting for me to get on or anything like that. I haven't had time or the fire team really to experience it, but I might actually this weekend, so hopefully I can get a fire team and try it out.
I always say I'm going to try it this weekend, and always I don't end up having enough time. But I'll tell you what, when I do end up having time, I'm going to go to Reddit. I'm going to find myself 2 guys that could do it by themselves, and I'm going to try not to lose for us. This is my plan. This is my plan of action.
Lighthouse Sherpas.
Right? Lighthouse Sherpas.
Yeah, I actually have talked to a few of them, so they're just like, hey, tell me when you have time next time. So hopefully I'll be able to get some help.
You know what? I'd like to have some of those guys on the show and find out what their secret is. And I have a feeling that it's going to be something along the lines of I shoot them and they don't shoot us. But I'd like maybe a little bit more in-depth version of that. What about you, Jez? I know at the beginning of this whole thing, that PvP wasn't really your expertise. Has it become something that you've done? Have you tried the trials each week? Have you been to the lighthouse?
I went 9-1 the first week and haven't went back.
Interesting.
Actually, I lie. I went back once, and I was just with a makeshift team, and we lost twice in a row, and someone had to leave. So that's as far as I went.
I have to talk to an adult.
That's pretty similar to how I was doing things, Jez. I had like a LFG group going on for Widow's Court, and
it was Widow's Court, actually.
Yeah, so there you go. Me and you should play on Xbox One.
I am, but
I know
I'm only 29.
Right.
I'll Sherpa you.
So what about you, Agrios? Are you excited about this rotation of the maps? Because I know that we've talked previously about it being really cool that it is one map, and so you have a chance to really whittle away at where to stand, where not to stand, common traps that people fall into. Have you spent much time in trials overall? Is this something that's interesting to you, and have you been to the lighthouse?
It interests me. I kind of wish I would spend more time trying to do it, but I am an average PvPer at best, and I definitely have to be with better guys than myself if I hope to make it to the lighthouse anytime soon. I need a lot of practice for a team of me's to make it to the lighthouse. So, but I still enjoy trying. And I enjoy these heat maps, and I enjoy the strategy, and I enjoy thinking about getting better and trying to get better. So that's where I stand on that.
That's fair. That's fair. I myself went and tried the trials the first time they went through, and I got my clock cleaned. And then I took my clock and I went home. I said, "Thank you very much. I'm out of here now." But seriously, I just lost. I lost wholesale, and then I turned in my, I don't know, what was it, like a dirt reward package. I turned in the dirt reward package, and I got some more passage coins. So it's something that each week I'm excited about. Like, I like the idea of there being a limited time event that has such specific parameters and such great loot. But I feel like this was all right. So in Elder Scrolls Online, Agrios, when we were playing it the other day, you would just go into sneak mode and would just steal everything from the people right in front of us. And I feel like that's the way it is in Trials. I feel like the people who are really good at PvP are just in there stealing from people. I feel like that this, what? You can't see me, and so I'm going to put all this into my pocket. So for someone they've put this gear on the other side of people who play PvP regularly, which is simultaneously brilliant and so freaking frustrating.
They went and RNG based it for people who are average or lower. Anybody who's even above average or lower, it's an RNG based system, because it was really interesting. Like, well, first off, these guys from the Lighthouse Sherpas that I ran with before, they made things look just so easy. It's like you said, it's like they're just stealing these kills from the other team. It's like it's like funny to them. They're like, I'm just gonna stand here and dance, and boop boop boop, there goes the team. They're dead.
Right?
Like, it's hilariously how easy they made it look. But the other funny thing is that the whole time we ran to the lighthouse, we only got one team that had lighthouse emblems. We got like 2 different sets of teams that had like a 26 level person on them or something like that. And I'm like, where were all these teams when me and my friends that are like average like myself were trying to get to the lighthouse? Like, you know, every game we go up, we get we're against 3 lighthouse emblems and 3 thorns. And it was just hilarious how these 2 guys who like could mow over those guys anyhow were getting these chump teams for half of the ones we were getting on the way to the lighthouse. And it's just so RNG like that.
You know, and I feel like that's part of the brilliance. Daniel out in the chat says, I've done everything from the 9.0 to the 0.3 trials run. Very hit or miss for me. As a scout rifle guy, I need maps that play well to using vision as a primary. This goes right to what you were saying, Agrios. Like, you're here with these 2 dudes who are basically, you know, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee of Destiny, and you get put up against a team that you and me and any other person on the face of the planet could take out. and this is hilarious to me, because when you and me and I don't even remember who it was with us, there's just a lot of crying, and all guys sound the same when they cry. And so it was like we were playing in an MLG league, and we had never played Destiny before.
Yeah, I really wish that maybe they would implement just a little bit more skill. Like, I understand that like part of their intent was like to keep them behind the good PvP players, but like I imagine it just has to be disheartening for some of the people who are really trying and just get unlucky enough, because that's what it is. It's a matter of getting unlucky or lucky enough to go against all these MLG type teams or not. So,
you know, and additionally, because you can just keep trying to go back, it's also a way to spend your time. Like, I feel like if I just had 8 hours right in front of me to game, that if I played Trials long enough, I could absolutely get there just based on the RNG-ness of the other teams. Like, I feel like it would only be a matter of time. Like, it doesn't take long to burn through a card, especially if you're losing. So it's I don't know, it just feels like it's way doable. Like, I feel like it's way doable. There's no way that this is out of anyone's league. You know, and Bife has been saying a lot that the Lighthouse is not for everyone. And I absolutely feel like the Lighthouse is for anyone who can take it. Anybody who wants to put that time in could absolutely do it. And it's just not as predictable as something like a raid, where you know how bad guys will react. You know, you don't ever know how the other guys are going to react or what they're going to carry in.
Kind of a funny thing about the setup is how, like, the people that go 9-0 regularly are also the people more likely to just stay in.
Absolutely.
Because if you are, like, average or bad, your immediate thought when you've done it is, good, I can no longer have to do it again.
Right, and then it's
That's
fun
a
to
good point.
jump back in, yeah?
Yeah.
If you're like the punishment, but I think what he's saying is, once someone who's like had a really, really, really hard time making it there makes it there, they don't ever that's it for them. They don't bother trying again after that, because all they're facing is the MLG type people who keep going back to 9-0 every weekend.
Totally.
So because there's no incentive for you to do it except to punish yourself. So
Well,
I mean, you
you're
could want a
more-
specific primary or something with a specific element. Like, you might not have got that yet. Like, I really didn't care for my Word of Crota and really wanted to avoid primary. I was fortunate enough to actually get that when I went there. So it is that situation for me.
well.
I'm still interested in it, but, like, I feel like any of my friends who are almost good enough to get there that are really trying to get there, that I'm more going to hold them back than not running
Even
with
the
them.
ones that keep going in every week, like that aren't that great. Even the ones that keep going in every week, they're still gonna jet out as soon as they're done, and it's just gonna slowly drop off to be the worst of the worst on Sundays and Mondays.
Man, that's a really good that's a really good observation, I think. River, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that. So if you've dropped out of trials, I think the best time for you to hop back in is whenever we get this new weapon balance patch, because Thorn's not going to be king theoretically anymore.
I agree.
Guys
Yeah, that
to
one.
know what's the best weapon to use in the game.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. It was just...
River, we lost you there for a second. You started going max headroom there on us. You want to repeat that last thing you said? Well, maybe he's not back yet.
Oh, no, that Max Headroom off into another dimension.
It would be
How about
interesting.
now?
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got you back. So we lost you about 30 seconds ago.
30 seconds ago. I'm not even sure where that was, but I think the best time to hop back in is after the weapons patch goes through, because no one's going to be rolling Thorn as much. It may not be the best weapon in the game anymore. We will see, but people are going to try out what's probably best for their playstyle, and I suggest everybody to pick your best weapon for your playstyle and go back into the trials that first weekend.
Yeah, I could see that.
it is gonna be like a bunch of cats running around with
Oh,
random weapons.
Gonna be
gonna be-
great. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
I agree. I agree.
It's also
wholeheartedly.
only
I'm
gonna
totally
be
down.
that. It's gonna be that 1 week.
So, and that's funny because we talked about the best week going in to be the first week, but Thorn was already broken by then. Speaking of, last week we talked about that the Thorn poison damage stacked up to 5 times, and I just can't imagine getting shot with Thorn 5 times and not being dead. Did that sound weird to anyone else?
No.
Well, the
That's the
stacks.
point.
What's the point?
Well, the point is they're making it so you aren't shot and get the full effect of Thorn, but in PvE, you can
Mhm.
stack your dot as much as you want because
Oh.
monsters are a little bit spongier.
That's right.
That's right. Okay, I totally see the difference now. So what what would you say is the new body hit count kill, head hit count kill for Thorn?
3.
3 head shots, 3 body shots.
3 headshots, 4 body shots.
I'm thinking 3
could be-
headshots and maybe 3 body shots to include the dot.
Well, I think
Maybe with dot burn.
I think you could with the new Thorn. I think it's still going to be 2 headshots and a body, but that's still
Yeah,
3
2
shots.
headshots in the body. Yes, 3 shots. Yeah, that's why
Because
I said 3
it's,
originally.
like I was doing math in the Guardian Radio stream and I was totaling it up, and you'll do probably around 194 or something with 2 headshots with Thorn now. Instead of killing someone, and that's also after the 5 seconds that it takes for it to burn.
Right.
So,
But if you put
Yeah.
2 in the head, 1 in the body, and then run away, you should still get the kill.
well, if you put 2 in head and 1 in the body, the impact of the gun's going to kill them. The dot's not going to
Right.
really affect it at all.
I'm just excited about, not dying after getting hit twice because it's got a pretty quick 2-hit time to kill. So
But if you aren't at 100% full health and don't have your armor up where it needs, like all the way, like then you're still gonna die to the 2. If you don't have your toughness like that, up all the way.
interesting. All right. Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Excuse me. Sorry. Choked myself. Next week, Lord Saladin will return with the Iron Banner. So that'll be competing with Brother Vance for that. And next things, Bungie wants your email. Why? World domination. You know it's world domination.
Totally is.
But they say, don't worry about it. We like you. Isn't that enough? We promise we won't give it to anyone else. If you give it to us, we'll give you 9 strange coins. If you already gave it to us, you'll also get 9 strange coins. So if you want some strange coins, give Bungie your email. They go on to say that theirs contains presents as well as challenges and some other fun stuff, and offer instruction on how to make sure that they have your email.
Awesome.
The coins will be generated on Fridays, and you'll have until August 30th to take advantage of this.
Awesome.
So do they mean every Friday until August 30th?
I just think that that's each Friday. Anybody who has since added their email since the last Friday, those will be batched and handed out that Friday. And August 30th, I imagine, probably is a Friday. So you have until, or maybe August 30th might be a Thursday or something, and then you have until then to, get your email into them. And that Friday, then you'll get the final dose of coins.
Nice.
Excellent. Moving on.
Before Update 2.0 arrives, we're going to get Hotfix 1.2.0.5. It'll likely drop within the next month. It'll bring us the Nepal shader and emblem rewards, as well as a fix for the missing Husk of the Pit drops. At a previous update, they inadvertently removed the ability to get the gun, but now it'll return with an increased drop rate over the original drop rate. And they thank those in the community for bringing this bug to their attention.
Excellent. Moving on.
We've mentioned before, with the deadline approaching, they remind everyone that your completion on the Moments of Triumph is tied to the Guardian that completed the task. And if that Guardian's deleted, then so is the accomplishment. So if you gathered golden chests on a particular character and delete him in preparation for something coming up with the Taken King, like, for instance, if you had all Titans and want to make one of each character, you might find, if you go check your Moment of Triumph, that you have not accomplished everything anymore because you deleted it with those characters. Make sure you check that out before the deadline. This week, Cosmo starts his duties bringing us the Movie of the Week. The winner this week, for epic commentary via Kyle, was a killing spree in the Crucible, and one of his friends viewing it got rather excited.
Have you guys seen
You
this?
guys have a chance to check that out?
Rather excited is an understatement.
Right. I always wanted a hype man, for myself, for my daily activities. I always thought it'd be cool to be able to pay like Flavor Flav to follow me around and hype up what I was doing. But then I realized, number one, this is ridiculous use of money, and number two, at some point I just don't even think what I'm doing is cool. I would be like, I don't know, that wasn't that great, dude. But yeah, this video is very funny and definitely worth giving a watch, because this guy is, I don't know. I think that I would start losing if I had somebody looking over my shoulder and telling me how awesome things were going. Get the triple kill. I would find myself dying sooner, faster than later.
I try to be my own hype man.
You are, and you do. I only played that couple of games of Destiny with you, but yeah, you are, and it's good. It's good times. I'm jealous of the people who get to play Destiny with you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I'm on Xbox One. I'm just not on when you are. Sad.
So, anybody else on Xbox One, add me, SDF Space River.
SDF Space River. Excellent.
So while we were talking about trials, I have a little bit of an SGA. It seems like a good time to mention it real quick right here. The end of each match has two ends. There's the once everybody is killed on the opposing team, and then there's a time period, a time window in which self-revives can happen and the match can continue. And then there's another point there where you get the punch on your card and the match ends. And even if a Warlock self-revives after that, he's wasted his self-revive and the match actually still continues to end. If you wait and revive your friend, if you revive your friend at the end of the match, after the team's dead, but before your card gets punched, or before the thing ticks onto the scoreboard, I should say, then he revives okay. But if you wait till after it ticks onto the scoreboard, it actually counts as a revive in the next round, and will extend the next revive timer after that. So be warned that you don't accidentally inadvertently give yourself longer revive timers into the next round by reviving your friends at the end of rounds.
Oh.
Wait a second. Say that again.
Okay, so in trials, if somebody kills you, and there's a timer till your friend can revive you. The more times you're killed within the same round, the longer that timer becomes each time.
Okay.
Okay, so at the end of a round, there are actually two ends to each round. There's the first end where all three of the opponents are killed, but a Warlock can pop and self-revive, and the round doesn't really end. Then at some point, after they die, everybody on the other team dies, there's another point where it actually ticks onto the scoreboard. But a Warlock could still self-revive right there, and if he did, it doesn't matter. He just wasted his self-revive because he waited too long after the end of the round to do it. If you actually manually revive your friend after that same point, it counts as a revive in the next round that you're about to play of Trials. So if that friend gets killed, then he has the second stage revive timer instead of the first stage revive timer.
Got it.
So you're unnecessarily handicapping yourself if you revive your friend at the end of a round too late.
Got it. Very important, super good advice. Thank you. Thank you, Agrios.
Yeah, you thank Reddit for that. That's a helpful fact I picked up off Reddit. Moving on.
Moving on.
We also had two honorable mentions this week for the movie of the week. One was a speed art of My Ghost and I, and the other was an 8-bit sound effects and music to match the graphics Defender montage, done all like old school style. So those were both pretty cool as well. They finish up this week by saying that next week they're going to be scouting the Dreadnought, and the week after that they're going to be scouting Germany. Every hero shot they took during their weapons inspection this week came from the build that they're taking to Gamescom. So if you're fortunate enough to be over in that area, I know our community member Fuzzle, he's from Germany. He's planning on being there. So I encourage everybody to follow him. I'm sure he'll be updating everybody with things that are going on. It's at Fuzzle_HC, right? That's his Twitter handle, I believe.
Man, that's a great question, but I think he's the only Fuzzle that has the.
Yeah, it's Fuzzle_HC as in hand cannon.
Is that right?
No, I don't think it means hand cannon.
Oh,
but it's HC.
But yes, he's a great guy. You should follow him anyway. But yeah, I know he's planning on going there too. And anybody lucky enough to be over there, let us know what's going on.
Man, I bet it's going to be so awesome. I don't know that I'd ever really wanted to leave the country before then. I wanted so badly to go there and check out all this stuff. But I guess that's the biggest gathering of people. Like I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but it's really popular and it looks really exciting.
Well, it's because Gamescom is open to the public for a couple of the days.
Oh, that would make a lot of sense. You're a smart guy, Jez. Was that what you were going to say, River?
No, no.
I think he was yes manning.
Oh, no. Because it's called Gamescom.
Yeah.
Excellent. Jealous of you guys going. Excited to see. How many more weeks is it until the release of the Taken King? Anyone know?
Last I seen was 93 days, but that was a while ago.
Let's see.
7?
Man, that's 7 Bungie weekly updates. You know, at some point, they're gonna have to start shelling out information, and it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see where Bungie's taking this. I'm excited to play the game. I'm excited to gather up these weapons. I'm excited for more lore. You know what? Even if it is through this Bungie weekly update, at least there's some place official that we can, have more information about. And I mean, really, if you are that interested in the game and you're going to the website to redeem some codes for a shader, for a shipper, for anything, it's there. It is. It's especially with the use of the mobile app. I wonder what the percentage of people who use the mobile app are versus people who maybe have never been to Bungie.net. Like they play the game, even though it says every time you pick up a Grimoire card, find out more at Bungie.net. I wonder what percentage of people actually have yet to even go, because it's, I don't know. There's quite a lot of good stuff there. Moving on.
Real quick, Remy.
Moving on. Well,
Yeah, what's up, River?
53 days, 25 minutes.
53 days and 25 minutes. I don't know.
yeah,
when you say it like that,
Wow.
when you say it like that, it sounds like a lot more. I don't know. I guess 7 weeks is pretty rough as well. We got some time. We
have time.
And I don't know. Moving on.
Guess what's
So
in 5
that wraps
weeks?
up.
Yes,
5
what's
weeks?
in 5 weeks?
I don't know what's in 5 weeks.
53 days. 7 days times 7 weeks. is
I
49.
get to visit the PAX.
Nice!
Oh,
Dude,
sweet.
that's awesome.
Wait, what happened?
No, I just get to go.
That's when he gets to
PAX.
play the Taken King.
Oh,
No, I don't get to play Taken King unless they take it to PAX, which would be great.
Yeah, why wouldn't they? They should.
I don't know.
Well, it's also like 2 weeks before they launch it, so I don't know what they do.
right. I kind of feel the same way because it was the same thing with PAX last year, right before. I don't think it was playable at PAX there, right?
I wasn't there.
I don't know.
I'm certain we talked about it.
I'm sure we did too if it was. I don't recall if it was playable for sure. or
I
not
mean, there was a bunch of playable events just before the launch of expansions for like media, where they would visit.
They bring them into like booths for
Yeah, like in the PlayStation Experience that they
Right.
did a while ago, just before the Dark Below. A bunch of people also were on the side doing that media stuff.
Right, they were taking people upstairs too randomly from the floor. From what I understood.
Yeah, I think it was the same building, but
Yeah, they were taking like certain random lucky people who were wandering around E3 got to go upstairs and do the full press experience. That's crazy.
I mean that could also just be because it was near a event, whereas House of Wolves, they did that completely on its own. They just brought in the Bungie itself.
Daniel out in the chat works at Bungie, and he says that sounds like a lot. ? 53 days sounds like too soon. So much work to do, and yeah, I can't imagine what it's like on your end of things. But as
Yeah.
somebody who is just eating, like I'm not worried about the cooking the meal. I'm not worried about the people bringing it to me. Like it needs to be here right now on my plate. Like
We're just banging our silverware on the table.
right,
Yes, exactly.
By the
Right.
way,
swinging
Fun
from the
tip a lot.
drapes.
fun fact: an exclamation point and a question mark is an interrobang.
Is what a question mark, an exclamation point, and then what?
A question mark and an exclamation point together is an interrobang.
Interrobang. I don't
Fun
know.
fact.
That doesn't sound right.
Weird.
But yeah, from your point of view, Daniel, it's got to be crazy. Maybe I should work on putting myself in Bungie employees' shoes more often. In that, you're right. It's definitely right around the corner. Good luck with that.
Good luck, for sure.
But you know what? I'm certain it's going to be awesome. Everybody on this panel certain it's going to be awesome. Or else they just wouldn't be here. People would have lost interest and been like, "Why are you guys still talking about Destiny?" And I'd be like, "Shut up! I'm talking about Destiny."
Oh, there's plenty of people who hate like that all the time.
Yeah, I feel bad for those people. Moving on.
moving on. So that wraps up the weekly update. I mean, we mentioned it kind of briefly before. There were over 100 awesome high-resolution photos all released via the Activision press release about the Taken King this week. I encourage everyone to go check those out. There's some really incredible shots, a lot of information to be had in there, new symbols that we've never seen before, shots of that abandoned tower from the PvP map, and all kinds of nifty, interesting things, weapons being wielded and outfits being worn, and everybody should go check that out.
Agreed. I can't wait to check that out.
Put a Reddit link that's got a lot of good versions of those photos, and an Imagure album with compressed photos, as well as a link to the original high resolution ones in the chat there.
Got it. Excellent. Thank you for that, Agrios.
And also in the community this week, a team of dedicated raid secret guardians managed to take down all of the Gorgons in the Gorgon maze before they were able to respawn to find out if that somehow triggered a secret.
Wow.
If anyone tried to take down any of these Gorgons, you know how hard it is to take one down. And each time you take one down, every other Gorgon alive gets a extra protection shield. And it only takes 30 seconds for one of these to respawn. So they had to take down all of these Gorgons in 30 seconds.
Wait, let me guess the plan. Separate everyone into teams of 2 or maybe 1 and just shoot Yellowhorns.
Yellowhorn, yeah. Good luck doing that after the weapons patch, huh?
You know, I wonder. I don't think they're going to nerf Yellowhorn that hard. I feel like the way they worded it and the reasons for nerfing it were not great enough to make a huge change to it. You know,
I think any amount could have prevented this. I mean, this is some borderline hardcore shit.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a big enough nerf. I think that Yellowhorn is going to remain an amazing tool, but for there to be people who would not let you join their group because you didn't have one, that's ridiculous. And it's sad that the community is the people who ruined it.
No, see, I disagree with that reasoning, though, because I think that just saved people from getting into group with jerks.
Wait,
because
what?
all those people that wouldn't take them because they didn't have a Gallahorn, they're just jerks.
Oh, okay. That's what you mean.
Yeah, so them not getting taken in by that group actually helped them because they went and found a better group that could play better and knew they didn't need to have a Gallahorn if they had a Hunger Crota or just a really good tracking rocket launcher and you're on a full team of people who knew what they're doing. I mean, we routinely took down Crota with only 1 or 2 Gallahorns in the group, on level and everything like that. It was definitely not a necessary thing. So, in retrospect, it actually just saved people from getting taken onto groups of jerks.
I could see that, but I don't think that that's a good enough. That's just it. That's the train of thought I'm on. That's not a good enough reason to nerf it, so it's not going to be that big of a nerf. Like I feel like people talking about this nerf is big enough to kind of make it not so desirable. But I mean, I don't. What are your thoughts on this, River?
Well, I think Bungie's going to do what they deem is necessary to make everything more balanced, despite what the masses are going to say and curse and whine and cry and stuff like that.
They want that usage line to be just above Hunger of Crota's usage line. They don't want it to be 10 blocks above Hunger of Crota's usage line. Like from that graph they provided, how it's so drastic. They're going to nerf it as hard as they need to bring that line down to just above Hunger of Crota, I think.
See, the problem with it, and all the arguments are super circular. They're like, well, we need this tool because bosses are so spongy. But the problem is bosses are spongy because otherwise it would be a joke for everyone without Yellowhorn. Mm-hmm. Or it would be a complete joke with Yellowhorn.
Right.
So it's like we got to bring it down so that everyone has the same experience, whatever weapon they're using, they just might have a different playstyle that requires them to like fire and forget and not have to rely on your primary damage as much, which Yellowhorn would be.
And if they need to, they could just scale down the HP of the bosses too, right after.
Well, I don't really have a feeling, but I would hope that they're also looking at patch noting everything else besides just the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Like scaling down the encounter length in general.
Well, I think after that first week, they'll have some hard data telling them whether or not they need to do that.
Yeah, exactly. They won't be looking at it and be like, well, if you have Yellowhorn, it takes 7 seconds, and if you don't, it takes 20 minutes. So,
is that close to an actual ratio there?
Yeah.
Well, no, it'd be 40 minutes 40 seconds compared to like 15 minutes for a certain Skullsy fight.
I'm curious what the Omnigul burn, what the Rainbow Burn Omnigul timing is if you don't use Gallahorns, because I don't know anybody who hasn't gone in there with their Gallahorns yet, but I know if everyone just goes and firing the Gallahorns, it's just over, like when you get there, basically.
There's actually a strategy that is even faster than Yellowhorn on Omnigul.
Continue.
Oh, yeah?
It's to be on PlayStation 4 and have 3 people with Fourth Horseman sitting in a bubble just in front of Omnigul, and I'll pop out and blast her away.
I've done that before. Yeah.
Jeez.
I haven't seen that.
Like fun.
That does sound like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Could you do something like a dry rot, or just even like a judgment or a failurer's line with full auto? I mean, with the burn and the bubble, as long as the bubble lasts long enough, I mean, you can go up there and still do it like that.
Did you finally get the dry rot?
No, I have not yet. But
oh my god, it's the best.
There's a bunch of guns I actually like to pick up. Yeah, I want to get the Hopscotch Pilgrim and the Dry Rot.
Oh my god, Dry Rot 32 is such a fun shotgun. I've got 2 of them on Xbox, and I don't have any of them on PlayStation. What's that?
Poor man's Fourth Horseman.
Is that what it is? It's really a lot of fun to use. I don't know. Moving on.
Moving on. Well, that's just about all I have this week. I mean, we talked about that's about all I have this week. That wraps up all of the news. We actually made it through.
Awesome, with 15 minutes to spare.
Amazing.
Wow.
Doesn't happen often, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, so this doesn't happen very often either. Okay, so I just want to go down the list real quick and make sure that everyone got all of their Destiny conversation out of their system that they need to talk about right now. Agrios, is there something that you were just dying to go over that we didn't hit?
No, nothing at all. We've covered everything that I'm interested in talking about. I just want it to hurry up and get here already. I'm in a lull. I've been playing my Elder Scrolls Online more than I played Destiny. This is the first week in a long time that I have only logged into Destiny a few times, and last week I actually didn't even complete all my Nightfalls on all 3 characters. That's I can't even tell you the last time that happened. That's like since the game began.
Crazy.
I didn't run 3 characters every week from the game began, but like from the time I started running Nightfalls with a character on level to do a Nightfall, I never missed one.
So is this just goes back to not having any vault space, right? Like you would have made that exception to take the time out. It's not that you were bored, it's not that you didn't have time, it's that even if you got something you really wanted, something had to go, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it for sure.
Yeah, because I definitely
know what's out there. I've read up on what's out there, so I know what I don't have. And, like, I have room for, like, 1 or 2. Like, if I got a Dry Rod, I'd keep it. And if I got a Hopscotch Pilgrim, I'd keep it. I have room for those. I know where they would go. But aside from obtaining those 2 guns, and Fourth Horseman, because I don't have it yet, there's nothing else for me in the game. So if I do hop on, I go run a couple, like, Dragon Strikes or whatever and see if I happen to get one of those. Or if, as some other people are on who are interested in Nightfalling, I get my Nightfalls done for the week. And that's about it. I've kind of, I have a stack of like a dozen etheric lights sitting there I haven't even distributed yet.
Wow.
So
Wow, that's amazing, and I'm way jealous.
I
Not
think this expansion's been pretty bad for me, Fire Assault Space, just because I'm like, well, I got this gun. I don't know if it's good because I could re-roll it, and I don't know if it can re-roll into anything good, so I'll just keep it
Man,
and then
this is a
forget
really
about
good
it.
point. You bring up such an amazingly good point. I've done the same thing where I will get a double of a gun and I will think, well, do I only want this one gun or do I want to try and re-roll it? And so it's made me want to keep more than I probably would have before, because if I got a gun with a rotten roll, I would just shard it. I would put a couple of bounties on it so it leveled up a little bit, and then I would shard it. But yeah, you're right. There's a double down on need for vault space.
And to even make it even worse, then you're like, well, I could test it out, but then I test it out, and if I re-roll it, all my experience that I put into it is lost. So I don't know.
I'm not so hard on that fact. I actually enjoy leveling up a weapon and trying out the perks and then re-rolling it and then having that weapon to gain experience again. I kind of feel like that's one of the fun things that I do is put experience into guns.
My biggest hope for next gen, I think, is that my biggest hope for the next release is that they step next gen away from last gen some. Like for the vault space issues and stuff, I think it could just be solved if they just at least for next gen, since we know that the active memory is something that's really holding us back what's available on last gen. If they just put an extra node that the little terminal is only there in the next gen version of Destiny, and it's a separate bank just for next gen, and you understand if you log your character into last gen, whatever you have stored in that bank's not going to be available while you're on last gen.
Yeah, I could see that.
We always saw a little bit departure with that last thing where they took away the comparison in the vault to give more vault space with last gen. I just hope they take that next step with the next release.
Man, don't hold your breath. Jez, did you get to talk about everything Destiny related that you want to talk about?
I think we should have a deep philosophical conversation on should we defeat the darkness, or is he actually the good part? No, I think I'm pretty good.
Man, why you bring that up 10 minutes before we go?
I wrote a raid if you want to read it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
You know what? We should go over that next week. I think that would be a really cool topic of conversation. Crimson Warlock, did you get a chance to talk about everything you want to talk about? He's sleeping.
It's that dreaded mute button.
Yeah.
That mute button is OP. There was one thing I wanted to say, and I finally remembered it like 2 topics later. But it was when we are looking at the Ceros and the description for the Ceros weapons, like Ceros is my hope for having physically modular weapons. Just the way that they look, it looks like that Ceros case could come off and you could change parts in it and stuff. And just their description, well, I know it probably won't happen, but I'm hoping that in the future we will see interchangeable parts, and Ceros is my hope for that in the future.
I totally 100% agree with you. That would be amazing. I just don't feel like Ceros is it. Like I feel like everything is crafted together on purpose. If it was going to be something specific, it would be like Hacky or something like this. I understand what you're saying, and I don't know why they couldn't do it across all of them, but yeah, I'm not holding my breath on that one either.
It probably won't happen, but it's a hope.
River, was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, one of the things I want to bring up for some sort of future discussion is we're getting more and more weapons as the franchise progresses. And you remember whenever all of our favorite guys in the Destiny community went to go play the Taken King in the multiplayer part, and they had no exotics.
Uh-huh.
You remember that? And
yeah.
They were talking about how fresh and how balanced, quote unquote balanced it was feeling because there was no exotics going out.
Uh-huh.
I feel like one of the big problems that we have here in Destiny is that exotics are way too common for everybody who's going through. So one of the things I'd like to see, especially with the next iteration of Destiny 2, is kind of having the gear that we have be more like legacy items, have legendaries matter more and exotics drop less often in some form. And that I want to bring that up for some sort of future discussion in a future episode.
I'm writing it down right now. Sounds awesome.
I'm gonna forget it, so I'm gonna make a point right now that would also be kind of bad, just because of how the exotics make the battle super swingy. Like if you have the exotic, you're super good. That it seems like if less people have exotics, they're going to overpower much more. So they would also have to tune down the overall quality of the exotics to bring it to just a hair above legendary.
And I think to me that would be the sweet spot. Was have it just a little bit more powerful than what a legendary would be.
Yeah, I like exotics being an option, not the option.
Yes, exactly. That's my point.
I also would love to see your loadout like locked in a PvP match. Because I hate getting hit by Thorn, and then as soon as heavy ammo comes, it's Galahorn by that same person. Like,
but you can't lock in that. If you need to switch your tactic from shotgun to sniper.
Then you're screwed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think that's valid. I think you need to have that ability. I mean, that's how their whole setup is describing that they want you to think about how and when and where you use what types of weapons.
Well, then at least like, if you choose to use an exotic, then that is the only exotic you can use in that match. Like just something like that. Because switching exotics out while you're playing, in my opinion, is definitely an unfair thing for someone like me, where I'm like, well, this is how I prefer to play. I'm not going to switch my loadout 5 or 6 times during a PvP match just so I can make sure that I'm always on top.
I know for a long time I was switching out to my Thunderlord for heavy ammo, and I'd immediately switch back to my my Soros. It was back in the day before auto rifles were nerfed, and I was running Soros. But I really, really liked my Thunderlord, and when it got into Iron Banner, I didn't have all my good heavy machine guns were Deviant Gravities. They were 300, and it was 331. So I wanted to use my Thunderlord as my heavy, so I was constantly switching out so I could do that.
And Thunderlord's a really good scout rifle.
Just saying.
All right. Shoutouts. Agrios.
I'm going to shout out this week to one of our Guardian 1 clan members, Jaded69er. He been running with him a lot lately. He's a great guy and a great clan member, so shout out to him.
Excellent. Jazz.
Shout out to Daniel in the chat, but I'll have an IPA for him in August.
Nice.
Crimson Warlock.
My shout outs to the Bungie charity community. I can't think of what the name of it is right now. Bungie's charity. What was that?
Bungie Cares, I believe.
Bungie Cares. Just because I got my Nepal shirt this week, and it was just another reminder of how we pull together as a community to help those in need.
Yeah, I got mine this week.
Thank you, Bungie, for doing such a great charity that is willing to help those in need.
Outstanding. River.
I got a shout out for Bell Bunny. I know that may not be such a surprise to most people, but she has this great project in the works right now. It's called More Than a Game. And what she has a video that she put out on her YouTube channel, and she wants people to submit to her what Destiny means to you. How has it affected your daily life or your life in general? Because I know there's a ton of folks who has been influenced positively by this game, and not just by the game, but at the community at large. So she wants you to submit some sort of email in written form or a video, which would probably be better, because she's going to do something special with it. So if you have something like that, if you want to make something like that, send it over to her email, which is b3113bunny@gmail.com. She's got a video out on her YouTube channel, as I said, so I'll put that there in the chat. And if you're going to tweet tweet about it. Use the hashtag #MoreThanAGame.
Excellent. Definitely looking forward to that.
I'll be submitting something too.
My shout out is also to Daniel Out, because it's really cool to have people that are working on this game that we talk about. Like, we've been talking about this for over a year. We've been talking about this game since before it came out, and I love doing this podcast, and I love getting together with you guys, and I love seeing the people in the chat, and I just love the conversation that goes on around this. Like, I find so much enjoyment in this, and to have him come out and check out the show and not leave, and also let the people swarm him in the chat. Like, that's got to be something. Like, like you go into a Marilyn Manson show and he goes out the wrong door, and it's like, oh crap, there he is. Except for, I would say that Daniel Out's probably like the Marilyn Manson of beards. Have you guys seen this guy's beard? It's really crazy. I actually met him in line at the release party, and it's just as enormous as it is in real life. So thanks for showing up. And he says, Jez, that you're the reason that he did show up, because he saw your tweet. So you kick ass too, Jez.
Everybody should follow him on Twitter. Him and his whole crew have amusing things to say all the time.
Absolutely. And that's got to be one of the reasons that he got the job at Bungie. He can do the work, and he can do the work while being cool. I think that's important.
I bet working at Bungie is a birch.
How could it not be?
Your own.
But yeah, that wraps up episode 49. I would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.
Meow.